Good morning. Welcome to another One Mind meditation. Welcome to Wednesday morning. We are halfway into this week. I hope that your week is going well. Our teacher for this week is Jeff Brown. And let's get right into Jeff Brown's message for us today. Maggie, good morning. Brenya, good morning. Tracy, good morning. Awesome having you all here. Danae, a very good morning. Sunmary, good morning. Hello, hello. Right, the topic is realness, being real. This really lights me up. Anami, good morning. Happy Wednesday. I don't think that I was always like this, that realness is something that I really love, but something changed at me at some point in my own journey when I came to a deeper understanding of what it really means to be human. It is messy. Annalie, good morning. Antoinette, good morning. Hello. Awesome having you all right here. What it means to be human is that it is somewhat messy. And our acceptance of the realness of that makes a huge difference in our lives. So to put it bluntly, we were conceived in a messy puddle of human bodily fluid. For our whole lives, we have daily routines to try and deal with our own constant presence of messy human bodily fluid. And then we go to the supermarket to buy toilet paper, tampons, or condoms, and we try and hide these from the view of the people around us so they don't see that we have messy human bodily fluid to deal with on the daily. I've always found this rather silly, our pretending to one another that we're not really human. Anne-Marie, good morning. Charlene, good morning. What a beautiful Wednesday morning. And all of this is just on the physical level. The messiness on the physical level, because the intangibles, the thoughts, the feelings, the emotions, they are at least just as messy, but much easier to hide. Easier to pretend that I don't have to deal with all of that human messiness. Jeff Brown's thoughts on the topic is, we can't find our path without getting messy. He says, I never found my way to clarity without first befriending confusion in all its chaotic forms. I never found a path that felt like home before falling into quicksand first. I never established a new way of being without trying the wrong way of being on for size. In the heart of chaos, it is the clay that shapes us home, chaotic magnificence. Also, Jeff Brown says, it's not about giving up on the fairy tale relationship. It is about landing the fairy tale in reality. It's about giving the fairy feet. It's about peeling away the prince's armor and loving the human down below. It's about wiping off the princess's makeup and loving her divine humanness. It's about finding romance in the naked fires of daily life. When our masks and disguises fall away, real love can reveal itself. Actually, forget fairy tales. The human tale is much more satisfying. We just have to learn how to get turned on by humanness. The last thought from Jeff Brown says, if you want to live a more spiritual life, live a more human life. Be more truly, fiercely, and heartfully human. Isn't that so damn beautiful? I'm not saying that we should wallow in our messiness, but it's important to deal with what we're pretending doesn't exist. And when we continue to pretend that we're not really human, we end up drowning in the messiness that we're trying to ignore. First accept, then act. Accept the part of you that needed those old patterns in order to feel like you could cope. And then choose how you want to act differently. Choose how you want to be differently. But first, accept that the worst parts of you have just been trying damn hard to keep you alive. We can all learn to get turned on by real humanness, be authentic, and have more authentic relationships. If you're ready, our meditation journey today is a sense of self. We are inviting our inner children to come and sit down for a conversation. You can close your eyes, and here we go. Take a deep breath in and out. Take a deep breath in and out. A deep inhale and let it go. Deep breath in and out. One more big breath in and let it all flow away. You can continue the same breathing pattern on your own time. Every slow inhale through your nose gets drawn all the way deep down into your belly. And as you fill up your belly with air, also raise yourself up. As you breathe in, stretch out your spine, lift the top of your head toward the ceiling. And once you've reached your full height, let all of it go. With every exhale, soften. With every breath out, soften your spine, slump down your shoulders, and drop your head. We are inviting our inner children to come and sit down for a conversation today. Can you imagine something like a grade 1 teacher sitting on the carpet, inviting the kids to come and sit with her? My example today will use these 3 specific inner children, and I always want to remind you that you can use your own examples, whatever it might be that you feel you're struggling with. The 3 examples I'll use today are guilt, shame, and fear. These are the three inner children we're inviting to sit with us today: guilt, shame, and fear. As you continue your full body breathing, rising with every inhale and falling with every exhale, invite these inner children to breathe along with you. Could you see them too rise and fall? I'm always going to ask you to try and form a clear picture of these inner children. What would guilt look like if it had a personality? What would shame look like? What would fear look like? And I want to remind you that it's not important that you see a clear image, but opening yourself to seeing is helpful. Let these inner children know that we are here to listen. We really want to hear what it is that they have to say. We really want to understand. We'll take the last few big breaths of this phase together, helping our bodies stretch and adjust and settle down into as much comfort as possible for the rest of our journey. And invite these inner children to move and stretch along with us. Take a deep breath in. As you release, drop your head all the way forward and roll out your neck muscles, forward and to the left, and forward and to the right. Take a deep breath in. As you release, roll your shoulders forward in big, slow circles. Take a deep breath in. As you release, roll your shoulders backwards in big circles, nice and slow. Take a deep breath in. As you release, focus on your spine. Lean your upper body over to the left. And also lean your upper body over to the right. One more big breath in. And as you release, you can stretch or move or adjust any part of your body that still needs a bit of help settling down. Having softened our bodies into a state of presence, or at least as much as we are able to do that right now, we can now turn our attention inwards and dive deep inside for the next part of our journey. With every next inhale, we'll hold our breath for a few short moments, followed by a really long, really slow exhale. If you don't have the time to sit for the whole meditation with us, then this is always a good place to stop. But if you are here for the whole journey, we'll take the next few big breaths together. Let's take a deep breath in and hold. As you release, make it a really long, really slow exhale. Take a deep breath in and hold. As you release, feel into your body. Feel how softness slips in and settles in every part of your body. Take a deep breath in and hold. As you release, follow the downwards flow through your body. Feel your shoulders slowly falling. Feel your body slowly softening. And feel how you are slowly slipping deeper into you. One more big breath in and hold. And as you release, feel yourself melting. Feel your whole body dissolving. Feel how you are slipping into a deeper level of surrender with every slow exhale. You can continue the same breathing pattern on your own time. Every slow inhale through your nose is an invitation. It invites you to turn inwards and follow this journey. As you breathe in, feel the air flow in through your nostrils. Feel the air touch the back of your throat. Stay with your breath as it flows in through your lungs. And as you fill up the balloon inside your belly, feel yourself slip all the way in. Hold your breath but hold it only for as long as it feels easy, followed by a really long, really slow exhale. With your next big breath, as you dive deep into you, I want to remind you of these inner children sitting at your feet. Today's example is guilt, shame, and fear. Are you able to welcome them with open arms? Can you let them know you really want to understand them and hear them? Take your next big breath. The first inner child we are turning towards is guilt. As you take your next big breath and dive deep into you, we are asking guilt to speak. When you have moments, or when you have had moments of feeling guilty, what are they about? What are the thoughts that are on repeat in your mind when you experience this emotion of guilt? How does your body react to feeling guilt? Simply remind yourself of what is there, what does it feel like, and what are the thoughts that I think on repeat when I experience guilt. Take your next big breath. I want you to turn towards guilt and ask it a question. Can you ask a question and not try and use your brain to think of an answer, but allow this emotion to answer? As you take your next big breath and dive deep into you, turn to this inner child and speak to it this way. Say, guilt. In those moments that you feel so guilty, what is your deep desire for me in that moment? What is it that you would really want for me in that moment that you feel guilty? Take your next big breath and listen. Thank guilt for its presence, for showing up, for being seen, for being heard. This is an act of bravery. We now turn our attention towards the next inner child, shame. Very similar to guilt, but not quite. With your next big breath, as you dive deep into you, we are asking shame to speak. Remind yourself of your own experience of this emotion. When you feel shame or when you have felt shame. What are the thoughts that go through your mind? How does it feel in your body to have this emotion? What is it that you might say to yourself when shame is what you feel? Take your next big breath. Then I want you to turn towards shame and ask it a question and see if you're able to just listen for a response from this inner child. Not have your mind think up an answer, but just ask the question and step back. Wait and see if an answer comes. As you take your next big breath and dive deep into you, turn towards this inner child. Speak to it, say, shame. In those moments where you feel shameful, where you experience this big emotion, in that moment, what is it that you're afraid will happen? What is it that you are afraid will happen? Take your next big breath. Take a moment to thank shame for being present, for showing up, for being seen, for being heard. We understand that it takes real courage. And then we turn our attention towards the third inner child in today's example, fear. When you take your next big breath and dive deep into you, we are asking fear to speak. We want to listen. Remind yourself of moments when you feel scared. What are the thoughts you think in those moments? How does your body respond to feeling scared? Take your next big breath. And turn towards fear and ask it this question. Ask the question and also step back and let the question go. Hold a space for a response to come from deeper inside. As you take your next big breath and dive deep into you, speak to fear. Say, fear, in those moments where you feel so scared, you're trying to prevent something bad from happening, aren't you? What are you trying to prevent? What is the bad thing you're trying to prevent? Take your next big breath. Take a moment to thank fear for its presence, for being here, showing up, being seen and being heard. What a brave thing to do. We'll take the last few big breaths of this phase together. And as we do, we're asking these inner children to breathe along with us. Have them be or sit wherever it is that they want to be. Perhaps they'd like you to hold them. Perhaps they'd like to sit next to you. However it comes up for you. Let's take a deep breath in and hold. As you release, make it the longest, slowest exhale that you can. Take a deep breath in and hold. As you release, feel how softness slips in and settles in every fiber of your being. One more big breath in. And hold. And as you release, feel yourself slip all the way through. There is no more attention on your breathing. You can sit all the way back or even lie all the way back down and feel yourself just floating. And I'll read to you one more time from Jeff Brown's work, which I found so incredibly beautiful. He says we can't find our path without getting messy. He says, I never found my way to clarity without first befriending confusion in all its chaotic forms. I never found a path that felt like home before falling into quicksand. I never established a new way of being without trying the wrong way of being on for size. He says it's not about giving up on the fairy tale relationship. It is about landing the fairy tale in reality. It's about giving the fairy feet. It's about peeling away the prince's armor and loving the human down below. It's about wiping off the princess's makeup and loving her divine humanness. It's about finding romance in the naked fires of daily life. When our masks and disguises fall away, real love can reveal itself. Actually, forget fairy tales. The human tale is much more satisfying. We just have to learn how to get turned on by humanness. And then so beautifully said, if you want to live a more spiritual life, live a more human life. Be more truly, fiercely, heartfully human. I'm not saying that we should wallow in our messiness, but it's impossible to deal with what we're pretending doesn't exist. And when we continue to pretend that we're not really human, we end up drowning in the messiness that we're trying to ignore. First accept, and then act. Accept the part of you that needed those old patterns in order to feel like you could cope. And then choose how you want to act differently now. Choose how you want to be differently. But first accept that the worst parts of you have just been trying damn hard to keep you alive. It's gonna get messy. We can't avoid that part. But we can develop a whole new appreciation for the beautiful human messiness that we are, that make up our lives and the humans around us. We have the last 5 breaths of gratitude to do together. With every exhale, I'll say my thank you and I invite you to say yours. Let's take a deep breath in. Thank you for this exercise with my inner children. Take a deep breath in. Thank you for learning how to become more comfortable listening to what speaks inside. Take a deep breath in. Thank you for seeing clearly how everything in my system has just been doing its best to try and keep me alive. Take a deep breath in. Thank you for finding acceptance for every part of me, even the parts I might not have liked so much. One more big breath in. Thank you, beautiful people. And I want to repeat this thought again. This comes from Eckhart's work. Accept and then act. Acceptance doesn't necessitate the lack of action, but acceptance first means we can act from wisdom. We can make the changes that we need to make, but can we find acceptance first? Michelle, a very good morning. It's so good to see you. Thank you, Grania. Thank you, Charlene. Thank you, Danae. Thank you, Maggie. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Sunmarie. Thank you, Antoinette. Thank you, Anami. Thank you, Annalie. Have a beautiful day, everyone. See you again soon. Ciao, ciao.